Good morning, everybody. It's your girl, Miracle Sims, and you're listening to God, Sex, and Love, your daily dose of inspiration and juice. It is March the 28th, 2023, and today the topic is authentication. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Happy Tuesday. I hope that you all had a great Monday. Mine was just fine. One thing I didn't share with y'all yesterday is my throat was feeling a little bit scratchy when I woke up yesterday morning. So, your girl pretty much spent the day, trying to self-medicate, as they say, taking my medicine, eating soup, drinking tea, all that good stuff. And, I'm feeling much better. I mean, it's still like a little slight scratch just there, but for the most part, I'm feeling pretty good. So to God be the glory for that. But yeah, that's pretty much what my day looked like. I mean, obviously having some conversations and whatnot as well, networking, all that good stuff in between. But yeah, that's what my Monday looked like. I hope y'all had a good Monday. Like I said, mine was just fine. In regards to this morning, y'all, so I woke up, I did wake up at a random time last night, but I think that possibly could have just been for me, that verse that I looked up, and whatnot. So let's get into this conversation about authentication, because long story short, I mean, I feel like there was a few things that were like confirmations or affirmations for me, and possibly some of the stuff I've been through, like I said, over the past few weeks. Maybe I feel like I passed the test, that I went through last week or whatnot as well. So I was kind of sharing that testimony with a friend of mine. So again, there was several little things that I guess was kind of like authentication for me, and I guess again what God is doing with me, for me, and through me. But yeah, I mean, I guess those things were fresh on my mind this morning, because when I listened to the prayer meditation, it was talking about my enemies and all this type of stuff, and I'm like, this is an amazing confirming word to listen to this morning. So that's one thing that was another piece of confirmation or authentication, or however you want to say, affirmation and whatnot for me personally. But like I said, I mean, there just was quite a few things. I want to shout out to I don't remember her name at the moment. And I don't have it in front of me, but you know who you are, sis. So thank you for tuning in to, GSL. Thank you for letting me know that what I shared yesterday, touched you and whatnot. That was another thing that, felt like confirmation to me. I appreciate, when you all let me know that these things are encouraging and inspiring you. Of course, there's my guy over there in Australia that's constantly tuning in and constantly leaving, encouraging messages of, letting me know that I hear this was good, X, Y, and Z. And so, those things can be confirmations to me as well, or encouraging, right? It's also encouraging to me as well, because again, you just never know when you do things like this, like how it's going to help or bless, or if it's going to help or bless. And so, I appreciate those of you all that do let me know, how y'all feel about these juices and everything like that. So yeah, that was another thing that was like confirmation to me, as well as, again, the time that I woke up, the verse that I came across this morning when I looked that up, that was another piece of confirmation. I'm trying to think what else. I feel like there was some other things that was confirmation as well, but regardless, y'all. So that's what my heart and mind was kind of focused on, especially after listening to the prayer meditation this morning. I just started to really just, think about this concept of confirmation, affirmation. And ultimately, as I was looking into that, I got, I guess, another confirmation to some of the questions that I had yesterday. I got a few answers and whatnot, and that's ultimately what led me to authentication. So like I said, I was looking into confirmation and affirmation and all that type of stuff, and I looked up the definitions and things like that. And ultimately, I came across this blog post. It's under Go Deeper section, but for those that, are just going to listen to me and not go read the things that are in the Go Deeper section, it's at blog.tms.edu. And it is an article called How Can We Know That the Bible is from God? And it's written by Miska Wilhelmsson. I may not be saying it right, but it's all spelled and everything like that in the Go Deeper section. And when I came across the post, there was one quote that really just stood out to me this morning, and that's ultimately what led me to the word authenticated. But this is what the quote said. It said, "Since the word is God-breathed, it cannot be subjected to lesser authorities, but must be authenticated by God himself. It carries within itself the character and marks of being the word of God. The Bible remains authoritative, even if there were none to hear or believe it." So, I mean, obviously that stood out, and, for a lot of reasons. It did lead me to the word authentication, which I ended up looking up that definition and whatnot as well. And ultimately it became the theme or the topic for today. Because again, I feel like it kind of answered some of my questions from yesterday. That was like, why is it that people don't believe, or, what is so bad about the word of God that people want to be so, gung-ho on everything, whatever the opposite is. People want to they rather gravitate towards that than to gravitate to what the word of God has to say. And again, the Bible explains all of that as well when you truly get into it and see. But before we get into that, y'all, let me just share with you guys the definition of authentication. All right. So it says the process or action of proving or showing something to be true, genuine, or valid. So according to that quote and this definition here, what I'm seeing is that overall, God himself has to confirm this, right? He has to confirm that the word, the Bible, is true. And in that quote, it was referring to 2 Timothy 3:16, where God didn't have anything else to swear by. So he swore by himself to Abraham and everything like that. If you guys read that article, I mean, it's chock full of good verses. You guys can go deeper with all the verses and whatnot that are written in this post or in this article or whatever the case is. But I'm going to share with you guys some verses that I came across this morning that stood out to me. And I hope that they encourage you and inspire you. So I guess, with all these things on our heart and mind about authentication and how God has to confirm and authenticate himself and everything like that. Here's one I wanted to share. Romans 1:20. It says, "For his invisible attributes, namely his internal power and divine nature, have been clearly perceived even since the creation of the world in the things that have been made. So they are without excuse." When you guys read that article, you're going to see, again, there's a lot of information in there. But one of the things that stood out to me this morning, again, alongside of this concept of God confirming himself and everything like that. But even that last part of the quote that I read to you all says that even if nobody ever listened or believed the word of God, the Bible is still authoritative and it's still valid. And then in the word of God, in Romans 1:20, it says that pretty much that everything around us, all creation, is saying that there is a God. Now we may not want to believe that or not. We have the free will to be, to again believe that or not. But I mean, in simple terms, as I feel like I heard this probably first from, what's the gentleman name, Pastor David Lynn, that at the end of the day, everything has a creator. And so when you keep going back and back and back, you're going to get to the point where it's like, well, who made this or who made that? And at some point you're going to, if you don't want to acknowledge God, then you're just going to stop. But I mean, again, when you look at something, whatever it is, we see and know that something created whatever it is that we're looking at. A builder builds the buildings, all these different type of things, y'all. So again, it's up to you whether you want to believe it or not. God gives us the free will and all of that, but that doesn't change the authority that it has. And yeah, so he authenticates himself, y'all. He authenticates himself. So anywho, now this next verse I have to share, y'all, I'm sure it might be pulp, but here it is. It's Psalm 14:1. It says, to the choir master of David, the fool says in his heart, there is no God. They are corrupt. They do abominable deeds. There is none who does good. Ooh. Okay, so I know we like to think that, I'm a good person and all this different type of stuff that people say and do. But according to this, I mean, if you believe in your heart that there's no God, X, Y, Z, it says calling you a fool, and it says that you're corrupt and that you do abominable deeds and things like that. Unfortunately, yes, I do have to acknowledge that, I too heard about the things that happened in Nashville, an elementary school, Christian elementary school, at that. Was shot. 3 children apparently have been killed, as well as 3 adults. I believe that's one. I mean, they also are including the shooter as well. I guess in the count, because I think I saw 7 last time I looked. But either way, y'all. I mean, again, these are results of lack of morals. These are the results of lack of godliness, in my humble opinion. Like, if you don't believe there's God, you don't value life, you don't value anything, because you don't think there's no purpose to, life or being here or anything. Like, it's easy to be used by the enemy when you are going through life and believing that there's no God, and that, everything like that. There's no I guess rhyme or reason to morality in your heart and mind. And I know it's maybe a little bit controversial to put out there that, okay, there's that I guess atheists or people that don't believe can't be moral, but at the end of the day, I mean, again, I feel like Frank Turek and all those different apologetics gentlemen, they can explain this way better than me right now. But ultimately, it's like, if you have no moral compass, then what is your morality measured up to, and everything like that. So, I mean, you guys can go deeper and look into all of these things on your own. That's what I ended up studying this morning, just all about authentication. I mean, on one hand, I think it's a beautiful thing to get confirmations every now and then, like, again, whether it's in the word of God or whether it's through people that may be listening or whatever the case is. Like, it's nice to get a sign, or it's nice to get a little bit of confirmation or something that, because to keep me motivated and encouraged and inspired. But really, what I'm learning here today is that, outside of the word of God and everything around us, honestly, God don't really even need to even confirm anything else to authenticate himself. He does anyway. I mean, obviously there's miracles, signs, and wonders, and I mean, here I am as well, an example of a miracle today, and everything like that. But I mean, he chooses to, authenticate in alternative ways as well. But overall, he authenticates himself. And I mean, ultimately, that's the juice. That is the juice this morning. Now, the Bible verse of today is Psalm 23:4. It says, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me, thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Friends, I hope you all enjoyed this juice this morning. Thank you so much for listening to God, Sex, and Love, your daily dose of inspiration and juice. I pray you guys can go forth and have a wonderful day, and I look forward to talking to you all tomorrow, if the Lord's will. Bye-bye. And there you go. Facebook, YouTube, Rumble, anybody listening to the sound of my voice. I hope that you all are encouraged and inspired to know that the Lord will authenticate himself. We don't have to do too much debating and all that type of stuff. I mean, again, it says everything around us says that he is, and everything like that. And so, But again, that blog post really did go deeper in this concept of at least helping me to understand a little bit more outside of the Bible, because I mean, that helps me understand as well, obviously. But I mean, sometimes people need to break things down a little bit more when it comes to certain things, or give you a different level of understanding and whatnot. So I thank the Lord for allowing me to come across that this morning. And like I said, I hope that these things encourage you and inspire you and everything like that. Today is Tuesday, so we know that NJ is going to be in class today. And then I think I got an episode of GSL to film. I'm gonna look on my calendar. I'm pretty sure. I think it is on there. Outside of that, just going to be here, trying to still chill and whatnot. I feel better though. I do feel a lot better. My scratchy throat is dissipating, so to God be the glory for that. Yeah, that's what's going on for my Tuesday, but I'll let y'all know, if the Lord's will, what happens tomorrow. And I hope that all of you all have a wonderful day. Bye.